Good morning, good morning, good morning. Gonna have to get a different SD card. I love this dress, I just gotta say. Like this, like this, like this. I woke up from a horrible nightmare. Don't mind my cord. I have to have it all rigged up weird so I can plug in my heater because it's freezing in this RV. Tell you what, it's getting colder as it gets colder. But, so I was gonna sing the song If You're Going Through Hell, keep on going. Keep on moving. If you're scared, don't show it. However that song goes. If you're going through hell, keep on going. So, whoever's going through it, good job. You're moving through it. I promise it gets better. I don't know if anybody resonates with that, but I just felt like somebody needs to listen to that song, and here's your confirmation. Keep the faith, and I promise you'll make it through hell. You'll make it through it. So, anyways, for if that's for anybody, and if not, then it's crazy early morning vibes. So I was gonna read my victim impact statement, and I had rewrote it. I'd restarted it 6 times in my notebook, and I was kind of like trying to read through all the times that I'd started it in my notebook. Excuse me. And it had just drained me. So I'm not going to read through my notebook. But basically, in my victim impact statements, I was just trying to make it short, sweet, simple, but also give the full story. So instead of reading my victim impact statement, I will just tell you what I was trying to write in them. So yeah, it's like 26 pages wrote down. And I read through, kind of skimmed through like 16 of them. And I had like restarted it like 3 different times on my computer, and it never saved on my computer. So that was pretty horrible. And I made it down to the courthouse, and I didn't have the right. I didn't read my victim impact statement. I didn't save to my computer. I didn't have the right notebook. I ended up just winging it. It was such a battle to even get to the courthouse. It was a battle to that. I don't know. I've felt heavy like this before, but it was very heavy, hard, heavy, stressful, anxiety-ridden week. 2 weeks leading up to that point, but especially the week leading up to my victim impact statement, and then, oh, I apologize. I ended up having to get a ride because a week before my victim impact statement, I started having car trouble. My boot started going out in my van. It was like I would turn. Like the boot is in between the 2 tie rods, right? I believe. Yeah. So my boot started going out. But it was like every time I tried to turn, every time I hit the brakes, I was like, what the fuck? Ended up getting a ride, which was amazing. Didn't set my alarm. I was having a really rough night the night before. I was trying to finish my victim impact statement. Ended up passing out. Didn't set an alarm. By the grace of God, literally, I woke up at the last minute. I could have woke up. Left at the last minute. I could have left, but I made it there. But so basically, in my victim impact statement, like I said, I was just trying to cram-packed everything in it that I could from the beginning of mine and Calvin's relationship. And I was just trying to get as much detail in there as possible without making it over dreadfully, terribly long. So I'm just going to tell you what I had wrote. So I had met Calvin in December of 2019, December 24th, 2019, my birthday. And probably should have shared that information, but fuck it, whatever. So I met him on my birthday, and at work, at a workplace. I was working at Easy Way in Idaho, Grace, Idaho. Easy Way. I was working in the kitchen, and it's fucking really ironic that he starts on Christmas Eve. Was his first day, right? And so he starts work, comes in, is working. It seems like this really nice dude, like really nice dude. And I was like, whatever, like he introduced himself to me, whatever, and then we all went out and smoked, and we were talking, and he was like, oh, that sucks that you have to work on your birthday, and I'm like, nah, it's cool, like, whatever, you know. I was a little bit pissy. I did say, I'm like, I'm grumpy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I remember sitting there at the computer up front, just sitting there for a second, and I told our boss, I was like, it's crazy because he's like a man version of me. And then, since then, I've met many, many people who, or like men versions of me, I guess you could say. Like, I don't know. But I remember her telling her, like, if I was a man, like, it's like me as a man version or whatever. Because he's so nice, super nice, you know. And, I don't know, he just, like, mirrored me really well. And I was like, I did that. But I was going through my mom, almost on her deathbed. So anyways, so yeah, so December 2019, meet him. December 24th, 2019, meet him. By January 5th of 2020, he had asked me. So, okay, so we started hanging out. And, he was like pushing things along really, really quickly, obviously, as you know, like narcissists do, abusers do. And, by January 5th, we were in a motel room. I was paying for a hotel room. I was paying for it because he had just started working, obviously, and he did not get paid for 3 weeks. So, but he had talked me into, he told me that I needed a break, that I needed to get a break from my mom and Al, and that I would benefit from going and staying in a hotel room, right? And, so I was like, okay, you know, yeah, that's cool. And, I remember, like, thinking we were going to stay there for, like, a week. And, he ended up being like, oh yeah, well, I talked to the woman and she said that we could stay here for, like, you know, for a month or whatever, as long as we need. And I was like, a month? Like, I don't need that long of a break from my mom. And he's like, oh no, it'll be good for you. It'll be good for you. It'll be really good for your son. It'll be really good for your son. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, yeah, it would be good for my son because this dude will play video games with him, help get his mind off of his grandma, because my son was really close to my mom. And, I was like, yeah, he's right. Like, that will be good for my son to get out of this house and, like, not have to see this for a minute, whatever. So I'm like, okay, yeah. So I had stayed there for longer than I even was expecting, but going to this room and, like, not even a week later, it was like a few days later, he had asked me to marry him. Like, by January 5th, he got on his knees and asked me to marry him with a ring that he had gotten out of, like, a quarter machine, and he had been wearing, and he put on my finger or whatever. This dude never bought me a promise ring. I had to buy myself a promise ring. But yeah, he will sit there and tell everybody that he was the one who was doing all of this. He was the one who was working. If you look at our, we filed our taxes at the end of every year. If you look at the taxes at the end of every year, I fucking crushed him in working. But anybody who knows him knows he doesn't work. Like, that was his sister's and brother-in-law's biggest complaint about him. It's like, he will not fucking work. But anyways, we'll come to find out that he did not it had nothing to do with me needing a break or Matthew, it being good for Matthew for being in that room. He had ended up telling me, like, there at the end of the relationship, oh, well, blah, 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 like, why do you think that I couldn't wait to get away from my older sister's, place? And that's why he talked me into going and getting a room, was because he was living with his older sister. And so he had seen my weakness, seen what I was going through, and was like, ooh, easy prey, easy victim. And so he took away like the last weeks I had with my mother. And after my mom passed away, and then like we ended up going from the room to my mom's house, whatever, where Al was living. And cuz like all of a sudden like he was just clinging to me, right? He was just like on me. He was like, "You're mine." And that was that. And he wasn't going to go back and stay at his sister's house like at all. So we were at my mom's house and he lost his job. Go figure. Because he had called in sick and then walked in to the ATM because I had gotten my taxes back. And yay, we were able to get our trailer. Able to put the down payment on the trailer with my taxes. And I was like, I was working my guts out. I was getting pretty good taxes for my son and I. Whatever. And so he walked in to use the ATM after calling in, and he was smiling, and I guess he had lost his job for that or something, which was crazy. And then we ended up using my whole tax return and his, buying sheetrock and all this shit for this abandoned trailer that we had put down payment on, all of this, and ended up tearing out like all the shit out of my son's room. I never got to put it back in. Never got the shower put back in. We ended up wasting hundreds of dollars of sheetrock. He would buy like for the fittings for the toilet. He bought like 5 different hoses instead of just measuring like the sides of the hose or taking in the old hose or whatever, like that like little metal hose thingy. Instead of taking that in or whatever, he bought like 5 different ones because he had to buy like 3 different sizes and then lost the right size. And so then he had to go buy 2 more because he couldn't remember the exact size. And then like he was just blowing through money like nothing. Like he didn't even fucking care. And so he wasn't working. I was working. I find out. So we get it like, okay, so we get this place somewhat set up. End up having to leave my mom's house like quickly. We were supposed to have it to where like it was livable, like new sheetrock and everything. We didn't get it to that point. So we get there, he's not working, I'm working. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, while I'm working, you can be working on the trailer and till you find a job, right? And then we can work on it together after you find a job. And he's like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, I'm getting exhausted and like really, I'm like, I just lost my mom, and then I just had to move into this abandoned old moldy ass trailer, which really put my son and I through the fucking ringer. Like that shit was horrible. Like I don't know. And when I first met this guy or whatever, I remember feeling like an elastic band. I was talking to him in my mom's kitchen, and I remember feeling just fine. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I was just sitting there talking to him, and it felt like he had put in an elastic band around my brain. And I was like, I remember the instant that I felt that, and I was like, that's so weird. I was like, instant brain fog, and it was just weird. And then after that, it never went away. Like that rubber band never went away from my brain. I mean, it's gone now, thank God. But so I feel like I'm inclined to share that. But so anyway, and moving to this abandoned trailer, moldy, nasty, stinky trailer. I'm still working. He's not working, and I just lost my mom. And my son is like super fucking depressed, and we're in this moldy, nasty trailer that I'm trying to just still go to work like nothing. have like no time to transition, and my brain fog is just horrible constantly. And I'm like, I guess I was thinking it was because I just lost my mom, but it was this rubber band thing that he like put around my brain. Spiritually speaking, because he is the most evil, wicked, evil person that I've ever met in my entire existence. I've seen this shit on him, so I know that he is evil. But anyways, he wouldn't work on the trailer while I was at work. He would sit there and play video games with my son all day. Wouldn't cook for my son, wouldn't do dishes, he wouldn't do shit. And then I'd get home and I'm like exhausted, right? I'm like fucking exhausted. I didn't have an AC. The AC unit at my job broke, so I had no AC, no swamp cooler, no nothing in this kitchen, and I'm cooking orders to go. So I'm constantly like cooking hamburgers, french fries, all of this shit. And before that I had to do like cut like do all the prepping for the freaking tables. And I had to make the pizzas, make the sandwiches, all of this shit. And then it ended up going down to just me and this one dude who was working there. And this one dude was a piece of shit. He didn't do shit ever. He wouldn't fucking cut anything for prep. He wouldn't fill the tables. He would do nothing. So I'd come in the morning to everything empty and have to do everything. So I'm running my guts out, right? Running my guts out. Don't have an AC. Find out I'm pregnant on Mother's Day. Oh, yeah. So before all of this, I found out I'm pregnant. So I just lost my mom, moved into this moldy, nasty, stinky ass trailer. My son and I are in shell shock. And then I'm like moving through brain fog and everything. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I find out I'm pregnant on Mother's Day. Okay. And then I'm working like in the middle of the like all freaking summer with no AC. All of this, having to do all of this by myself, have like a super shitty one other person in the kitchen who won't do jack shit. And this motherfucker would not lift a finger and do anything on the trailer at all, like nothing. And then I would come home and he would expect me to help him. I'd be like, did you hang any drywall? Like, did you get anything done? He's like, no, I was waiting for you. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm pregnant in my first semester, exhausted, just lost my mom, like, all of this shit. And I'm just going through it. And I'm just like, fucking man, I almost killed myself. Like, I almost offed myself. Excuse my language. I almost committed. But I guess it was so bad that my 10-year-old son almost committed. Okay? And this asshole, this evil, slimy skin bag piece of shit was just sitting there like, no, I was waiting for you. And then, but he was telling everybody that he was doing everything for me, trying to tell me that he'd do everything for me, like telling me he was doing everything for me. Okay, like, oh well, when you're in bed I get you water. Bitch, please, that's not what I need. So going through all of that, whatever, and I'm just like, I'm not okay. My son's not okay. We're not okay. And this energy vampire, I don't even know. He was like a vampire, energy vampire, whatever. He would go through my phone every single fucking day, and at night, and started making it to where like he was fighting with me anytime I would vent to my little sister or talk to my ex never was best friend. And he would like fight with me about it. He would be like, you don't need to be telling people about our relationship because blah 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 blah. Because he's like, well, I don't talk to anybody about our relationship, but they're just gonna end up they'll only hear one side of the story and they don't know exactly what how we feel or whatever, and they'll end up like making us break up or some shit, I don't know. And I was just like, okay. So I ended up stopping talking to everybody completely about our relationship, and he was constantly trying to force me to get married to him for years. Like, well, we need to go get married. Let's just run down to the courthouse and get married. Like, randomly, numerous of times a year. Like, let's just go get married. And I'm like, no. why do you want to marry me so bad? Like, I think that we could be in a relationship for the rest of our lives and never have to get married, because I believe that if you really love somebody, then you're like, whatever. But the reasons I was like, no, thank God, is because I had seen him on the phone numerous of times, like late at night, where he'd be on the phone, and then I would like come out and he would hide the phone really fast. And then there was like one evening when I was pregnant with our oldest daughter. I seen him and he's like really into it, like whatever. And so I snuck down the hallway, and I used to be really quiet, like you couldn't hear me. I was like a mouse. And I snuck down the hallway and I was hiding behind the fridge, because like where we had the fridge or whatever, I was hiding by the fridge, and I was just sitting there and I like crouched down and I was just watching him, and he was like fucking into it, like and I was like, I could feel it off of him. I was like, he's texting somebody. He's totally like sexting somebody right now. And just to prove my point, to prove my theory, because I was like, this is like the 500th time that I've caught him doing it, but every other time he'd be like, no, whatever. So I was just like, just to prove my theory, I was like, And so I took like a sock or something and I threw it down the hallway and I hit the dryer with it. So I was like, ding. And he was like, and like fucking shoved the phone in the chair. And I was like, And so I waited until he was like looking at the TV. And I get up, kind of like make it sound like I'm walking down the hallway, And however I did it. And yeah, I can be fucking whatever I have to be in the environments I have to be in, okay? Then I come out and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, just watching Cletus. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I was like, hey, can I use your phone? And he's like, sure. And he's like, filling his pockets. He's like, I don't know where it's at. And I was like, you don't know where your phone's at? And he was like, no. And I was like, for real? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, didn't you just have it a few minutes ago? And he was like, yeah, but I don't know where I said it. He's like, why? What's wrong with your phone? And I was like, I don't know where it's at. I was like, why? You use my phone all the fucking time. All the time. I was like, I will be in the middle of texting somebody, and I will just hand it to you and not even close out. And you can't even let me use your phone right now. And he was like, what's your problem? And I was just like, ooh. And I didn't say anything. I was just like, you really don't know where your phone's at? I can't use your phone. And he's like, I really don't know where it's at. And I was like,